So when you take our tours, we hope that you have a little bit of a spooky time. But what's way more important is the fact that you walk away from one of our tours with an understanding of what happened here and the sacrifices these people made.
Absolutely.
Not only the soldiers, but the townspeople as well.
Exactly, man.
In all my years going to Gettysburg, what's really funny about this is that, not everybody believes in ghosts, obviously. I think like the latest study, I think we were just talking about this recently. It's like maybe right around 40 to 50% of people in America actually believe ghosts are real.
Maybe I heard you say that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's funny is the national park rangers, like once you actually, because I didn't know them all, but I got to know a couple of them pretty well because I was going so often. And at first, what's funny about that is if you go up to a park ranger today and say, hey, tell me about the ghosts, they're going to say, there's no such thing.
Get the fuck away.
Yeah.
What they're gonna say.
But I promise you, if you ever make friends with any of them and you get them to open up, maybe meet them for a beer, they have some of the best stories of the battlefield because everybody who works on that battlefield has stories. Almost every single person, but they can't say it like in an official capacity because the government's position is no such thing as ghosts. Get off the battlefield.
His ghost story, well, he's no longer working there. So I can tell him that him and another guy another park guide was helping him out, and there's some kind of government, like I can't remember if it's a congressman or
the fucking government ends up in every one of our podcasts somehow.
But it's like 3 or 4. They had 3 or 4 people from, I think it was the Senate or something that came. So they took 2 guides to go with them, and they were around the corner, where they were, and I guess what we would call the front of the seminary school, and they're standing in the grass there and whatnot. And he said, we did the tour backwards, so we're kind of finishing it there,
right?
And a guy walks up to him and says, now this is like somebody in regular clothing, walks up to him and says, do you all have a permit to carry that gun? And none of them had a gun on them.
Right.
And they're like, Daryl said he's just kind of
like, what the fuck are you
blowing them
about?
off,
Yeah.
And, sir, and said it again. And he was like, well, we don't have any guns on us. Well, maybe you should get some because it's the storms are coming. Just like that to him.
But that was a crazy person.
And I said,
probably.
Was he dressed in like period clothing? And he said, what I would have said a townsperson then would have looked like. But he said, as he kind of took it the same thing you're saying, that it's just somebody, you know,
like a crazy drunk.
And so one of the senators says, where did that guy go? And they're standing in you know how big an open area that it is right in front of the seminary school.
Yeah, it's just fields.
And this dude was just gone. Like they didn't know where, there was no way that he could have like ran or anything and got away from him. But it said he just turned and walked and, so there's one. And I'm going to tell you a ghost story that I still cannot figure out what happened in front of our store.
Okay.
So, along with a couple of us. So,
well, and for you guys that don't know, our store, it's literally right in the middle of town. There's a traffic circle in the middle of town. It's kind of the heart of Gettysburg. Our store is literally right in the middle of town. Like we couldn't have a better location on.
Well, no, right where the square is, that's where all the highway or all the,
all the roads converge. Yeah.
And that's where the soldiers come in from all different angles. And that's where they had to come to is the actual right to the square pretty much to go whichever way they were going. I mean, you had right down below us, you have the Tilly Pierce house, and that's where the actual barricade of the front line of the Confederates were.
Right.
So I mean, that's how, talking about the town, man, like if you went on one of our tours, you're going to walk right past the Tilly Pierce house, you're going to be right there where everything is. And then like on our adult tour, I mean, I've been on quite a few of the tours in town before I worked, and I'm not saying it because I work for Ghost City, but, we tell, when you stand out there, you listen to some of the other tour companies, and, you're hearing people that are supposed to be actual licensed, as historians, and they're telling them, like, Abraham Lincoln had a heart attack and came back here to recover.
Well, I mean,
True story.
I think we know the truth. So, and this doesn't apply to all ghost tour companies in Gettysburg because there are a couple other good ones as well. Like
Absolutely.
if you don't choose Ghost City, like there's a couple other ones that you can choose and you're going to get a good experience.
Absolutely.
But there's so many tour companies in Gettysburg that are just garbage.
Mhm.
And honestly, so I kind of got the idea for Ghost City in Gettysburg when I was visiting there. And one of the things that really irked me, and it irks me because they still do it to this day. I just thought it was incredibly disrespectful because I know the Civil War community very often has a problem with ghost tour companies and ghosts
Yeah.
because they're like, "Oh, that's not real. You're disrespecting, the men who fought and died here." And I don't believe that to be true. I do believe that there are companies that absolutely do that. We're not one of them.
No.
But
No.
one of the things I remember were the billboards they were putting up. You probably know exactly what picture I'm talking about when they had the African Americans. I can't remember whether they were enslaved people or not, but they were going around the battlefields with the wooden carts.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the picture where he's standing and there's the skull on the cart with the body.
Yeah.
And like they were using that in their advertisements. And I thought that was incredibly disgusting.
I agree.
Like,
Well,
so there was almost a part of me where I was like, I need to do something about this because this is not okay. And it took us a few years, but we actually ended up in Gettysburg.
well, it's like you and I had the same feeling about, remember what was in our front window the first time you came to Gettysburg?
When they put fucking skeleton. So this is what they did. They put fucking skeleton mannequins in the window and dressed them in Confederate uniforms and stuff. Didn't
No, we had them dressed in Ghost City gear.
Yeah, I was like, get those fucking skeletons out of the window. This is
wasn't
not
no
like
we about it.
I was like, get the skeletons out. We got to treat this place with respect, and I think that we usually do.
That's what
Gettysburg's such a special place that I think that when we're doing ghost tours there, probably more than any city that we do them, and we do take a lot of extra effort to make sure that people who attend our tours understand that we're not doing this in a sensationalized manner where we're trying to like make money off the dead.
Absolutely.
I mean, we make money because we're a company, but what is just as important to me is the fact that we do take the time to understand what happened here and the people. So when you take our tours, we hope that you have a little bit of a spooky time. But what's way more important is the fact that you walk away from one of our tours with an understanding of what happened here and the sacrifices these people made.
Absolutely.
Not only the soldiers, but the townspeople as well.
Exactly, man. That's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah.
Is
so the Abraham having a heart attack. Dude, I heard one tour guide one night, and I'm going to be lying if I forget the exact details of the story, but it was about John Reynolds.
Okay.
And it was just the most ridiculous one. They said John Reynolds was from where they say he was from Maryland. Like John Reynolds is from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You stupid fuck. Like, how do you not know that? You want to be a Civil War historian. You don't even know where John Reynolds is from. And then they said that he died on the third day of the battle. And it was one of those facepalm moments where it's like, oh my God. But then they told a ghost story about him, which I do not remember what it was. But the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, this is completely made up. You don't even have your fucking facts straight. And if I go to their website right now, the first line on their website is like, we tell the true history of Gettysburg. Yeah,
Right.
that John Reynolds died on the third day of the battle and he's from Maryland. I know that's little details, but to me, that stuff matters. Like if you go to the Pennsylvania Monument, John Reynolds is one of the fucking people that has a statue on it.
Exactly. That's
You moron.
That's so. I mean, think how disrespected that he would have felt being told that he's from a different state.
Yeah, nobody from Pennsylvania
that was
wants
a
to be
big
accused of
deal
being
back
from Maryland.
then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it was a big deal. And
Don't associate me with the state of Maryland.
yeah,
Ever. You guys are fucking crazy in Maryland. Love you guys, but you're fucking crazy. Driving, like,
but no, we absolutely cater to a lot of, and I get this a lot, where they'll come in and ask about a tour, and you tell them, you could see that one person's cringing when you say ghosts,
right?
And because they want the history.
Yeah.
And then you got the other one, like it's usually the wife that wants to do the ghosts and the husband is like about the history,
Yeah.
But when you tell them, literally it's about 70% history,
man.
and the rest is the firsthand accounts. And I've been going and talking when I have a chance to some of the spots that we stop in front of. I'll go by and tell them thank you. And like the pastor from Trinity Church, he gets cookies every year from us.
Right.
We take them to him, and thank him. And, but I ask them, have you had any experiences, and I tell, and some of the guides add them because that's like firsthand, experience right there, not something that's been handed down. That's probably had a couple things added to it,
Yeah.
and it really is. And it's like, man, some of the places in there, God, I would love to do the Trinity Church, man.
Yeah.
It's still got stains on the floor from where they did surgeries.
Well, it's not even just stains on the floors. I mean, just you walking down the street in Gettysburg, you can, to this day, you can still see signs of the battle. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
Places like the Farnsworth House.
Yep.
Like, just look at the side of the building. Like, there's still bullet holes there. There's still, you go out to the Trossel farm, everybody sees it when they're driving around. They see a hole in the front of the barn. You know what I'm talking about there, right by the,
Yep.
Right before you make that left to go towards the Minnesota and Pennsylvania monuments. Yes. Big hole in the front of the barn. And a lot of people just assume that, like, oh, it's because it's an old barn. I'm like, no, that's where a cannonball went through the wall. So it's not a place like Savannah, where you take a tour in Savannah, it's like, okay, we can show you these places, we can show you these houses, but there's not a lot of signs of what we're talking about. You go to Gettysburg, we can point out where, hey, there were snipers up in this attic, and that's why those bullet holes are up around that window. Yeah. Like, all these type of things, the history is right in front of you. There's no reason to be making stuff up in Gettysburg. About it. Yeah.
Well, it's just like the inn, Lincoln Inn, like literally, what would you say, 7-8 feet from our front door?
Yeah.
And their front step, and it was used as a morgue.
Yeah.
But they've got bullet holes. That's right. So I show people those all the time, and but yeah, I mean, it's everywhere around you. I mean, like, people, they get upset because they missed out on, going on the battlefield. They want to go on the battlefield and investigate.
Yeah.
And you can't after dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the ones that...
Not anymore, which is bullshit, by the way.
Yeah.
Because years ago, you could stay out, like, in the summertime till, like, it was either 10 or 11 or something.
It was 10, yeah.
Yeah. And now it's like sundown, you have to be... So whoever... Actually, no, I'm not going to go down that route.
I know who it was.
Yeah.
Man. But...
Why? Why do you do that? It really sucks that you can't go on the battlefield at night anymore. And a lot of that is because there are certain groups of people who were vandalizing monuments, all kind of crazy stuff at night. So eventually, I guess the National Park Service stepped in and said, we're just, the sun's down, you have to be out of here.
They wrote a letter to Gettysburg and sent it that they were going to do some damage.
Yeah.
Wasn't
there damage just recently?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what happened there?
They don't know who it was. And, but what it was is somebody threw mostly an oil mix onto a statue.
That shit doesn't come off.
No, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Is that, unfortunately, even though it's marble and it looks like it has a finish on it, that is the marble too. And they said that it'll continue to soak in that, or they can have some company come in that refurbishes or does something. It was in the paper, and it was like 10 grand for probably per square foot or something to do it.
It's like, what are you accomplishing? Okay, you vandalized this monument. Now what?
Yeah,
like,
but
your cause is fulfilled?
Union.
Like, it's bullshit.
It was a Union monument.
Yeah.
So I can understand.
I still don't
understand.
You have to understand the people that are doing this, they're not intelligent people.
No, not at all.
Like
not at all.
They would not know this is a Union thing. And of course, we're assuming that they were targeting a Confederate.
I would think so. I mean, why would you just throw that onto a statue that really...
Well, there's a lot of monuments that get vandalized. I remember just my last time in Gettysburg, I think, when I was up there, with you last time, they finally replaced that one on top of Devil's Den. When you come around Devil's Den, there was the guy with the, part of the artillery unit, that monument. I mean, for years he was missing, what was it, his arm or something? Or,
yeah, somebody knocked it off, they said. And
just ripped it apart. Like, why? What are you accomplishing?
No, it isn't. Well, it's like ridiculous. Somebody was carving. So the big thing that's become and maybe it's always been, and I'm just catching on to it, but there's rocks all over Gettysburg, or things, most of it's rocks that men who were there land behind the rocks.
Oh, maybe they carved their initials.
They carved their initials in it. So people are finding them now, and they're going out. Well, some dumbass like started carving his own, like, I don't think he did initials, but he did, like, maybe it was initials. I mean, obviously you can't tell by initials.
For a good time, call Andy.
Right. But it's like, You know, why? You know, you just deface something, a part of history that, because I mean, obviously you got to look at it that after wear and tear and the weather,
Yeah.
that we're losing some of that stuff. So they're trying to figure out a way to maybe preserve it somehow. Um, but then these yahoos go out there and they, you know, they do stuff like that. And it's just like they did such a good time, remarkable job. You'll love it when you go there. Little Round Top. It is 10 times better.
I haven't seen the new.
Yeah, it's
once they
10
remodeled
times
it.
better. And actually, you can walk to the area where Chamberlain was instead of having to walk up the hill and go up to it.
Yeah.
Now you just walk where the parking spots are.
Okay.
You just walk straight. They made a pathway through the woods.
Yeah, because normally you'd have to park on top of Little Round Top and walk down.
Yep.
You know, it was there on the left. But no, that area is one of my favorite parts of the battlefield. And actually, it was some of the places that I got some of the best EVPs from.
Oh, I bet.
We'd go up to Little Round Top.
They found a lot up there too.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And honestly, the best spot on Little Round Top was over there by the Warren, Governor K. Warren. Yeah. Governor Warren Monument. Like we would get all kind of crazy EVPs and stuff over there. Or you go over by, what's his name? Patty O'Rourke.
Yeah.
That monument. Or sometimes we'd actually go inside the New York Monument.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one. So they stabilized that entire area. Because I know at one point that area below the New York Monument was actually washing out or something.
That
wasn't
was,
it? Like,
and then all the pathways that were walking around, people, if you remember that it wasn't very wide and it was like asphalt. Yeah. And you would walk off to the side, step off of it to let someone come by. And so they were literally, all that was eroding away up underneath the sidewalk and stuff. So now they went in and tore all that out. They put a railing around the New York Monument.
Can you still go inside of it?
What's that?
Can you still go inside of it?
Oh,
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they did that, and they took and put up a couple new signs and stuff to tell you different things, cleaned it all up, made it wider up top.
Yeah.
And then they laid down, I don't know what size gravel, but it's really nice what they laid down, and you walk on that, and they made paths that are probably wide enough for 3 people to walk side by side up.
Well, good deal.
And, you know, but they did a remarkable job with it, and you can tell where it's saved. And then they put Chamberlain's rock wall back up, you know, and they were making that a big deal.
Bayonets!
But the thing was, Chamberlain, I've read this, he came back and was looking as they were putting together, like they wanted him to go up and say, yeah, it happened right here.
Right.
So they could be historically correct. And then he was like, but there was no rock wall.
Right.
That's exactly what he told him. There's no rock wall, you know.
Yeah, one of the funny things about that area is, you know, not that I was there so much that people recognize me because it was all new people, but you get asked all the time, like, hey, where's this? Where's this? And it got to the point where it was almost like I was an amateur tour guide, and I would be in that area and people would be like, even if they didn't ask me, if I just heard them talking, they'd be like, hey, where did Chamberlain set up? And, you know, where did all that happen? And what confuses people is they watch that movie Gettysburg, you know, the 3.5 hour Gettysburg, and they're looking for like this super steep, like in the movie.
Yeah.
And in reality, there was certainly a steep-ish area there, but it wasn't anything like the movie.
No, but I learned that freaking the Black Hats. Okay, so you went up through the valley, is you might as well say, that's what I call it, to go up towards Chamberlain.
Right.
So you have like Little Round Top, Big Round Top, and they got a road in between it now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they were coming up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because some of the reports from soldiers on Little Round Top was that they were seeing the shine of the bayonets in the soldiers. I think it was mostly Georgians and Alabamians at that point. Yeah. You know, they're kind of like in that little valley area, like back in the trees a little bit. That was the first thing that they saw when they were like, oh shit, we need to get some people up here to protect the top of this hill.
Well, they're running out of ammunition, Chamberlain MR, and the Black Hats are watching over on pretty much Big Round Top.
Right.
So they're watching their guys losing all their ammunition and getting ready to get their ass kicked is pretty much what it comes, and didn't even go help them. And I'm like, wow, you know, and I mean, it could have been for many reasons, but
Yeah.
It's just, it's not funny what happened there, but it's funny how the Confederates gave up and you know, threw their hands up and were done. And
I mean, they got it handed to them pretty good though.
yeah, but they didn't know that it was only just Chamberlain. They thought if these guys are coming down this hill, man, with bayonets, their mindset was they got the other half of the Union Army on their ass coming right behind them.
Well, if you remember, the whole reason they attacked the two ends of the Union line was
Yeah.
because Lee's thought was, well, if I attack the two ends, it'll actually weaken the center because they're going to pull the guys out of reserve in the center and move them out
To the end.
to the
Yeah.
ends. And I think that might have happened some, but not really. Like, you know, because then of course we had, you know, good old Sickles.
That's what I was getting ready. That's why I rolled my eyes.
Yeah, like you know, hey, I have a plan.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah. So that didn't really happen. So yeah, I mean, I'm certain that they were anticipating there were probably soldiers in reserve, but you know, turn this all back around. That whole area, if you know, even during the day, a lot of people think that you can only go out on the battlefield at night and find ghosts. But if you find a quiet area of the battlefield and you do it in a respectful manner, you would be surprised. Not maybe you might not see a lot during the day, but you'll get EVPs, you'll get voices all the time. Like, and that's a great area to go to. If you had to go to one area, if you had to pick one area of the battlefield, and I was like, Andy, this is the only place you get to investigate.
Ooh.
Where would you go? Not forever, because that would be boring.
Probably the wheat field.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
See, I'm tempted to say the wheat field or Rosewoods.
Rosewoods would be another good one too.
Yeah. But one of the coolest experiences that ever happened to me was actually out in what they call Iverson's Pits. You know,
shit, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so for you guys that don't know, Iverson's Pits, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but essentially it's just a field right now. And it was a field at the time of the battle. And, you know, there's famous stories about the Confederates marching, you know, Iverson's brigade across that field, not knowing that the Union was right behind that little hill right there.
Yeah, they were laying down.
You know? Yeah. And essentially they waited until the Confederates got within, you know, 100 yards or so.
Or something like that.
And essentially everybody just stood up and fired. And the Iverson's brigade essentially just fell where they were standing in rows. And, you know, did you ever hear that creepy story about the farmers after? So for years after the battle, you know, they come and clean the bodies up.
Right.
Their corn would go much better in the exact rows where those bodies were laying. Really? Like you could see the rows where the dead soldiers were, but it's just because the corn grew better in that area.
Now, does that bring up the fact that if they ever came back and got them?
I'm sure they did. I mean, you know, because a lot of times they just buried the Confederates where they were.
Right.
And then, you know, sometimes it was years after the battle
that
they came back and got them. But no, so I was at the watchtower right there, and you know, we were just looking around and stuff, and the fog started rolling in a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we're like, you know, a little bit of moon. I don't remember if it was a full moon or not. I don't want to be overly dramatic. But, you know, we're like, all right, let's go out into the field a little bit. You know, you pet the dog on your way out. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You pet the dog. You're like, all right, here we go. And, you know, we probably spent, I don't know, 2 hours.
Sadie.
Do I say? Yeah, exactly.
It just came to my mind. Like, yeah.
So there's a little dog on a monument. I think there's 2 monuments with dogs on. I think it's Sadie and then the Irish Brigade over there, actually by the wheat field.
Yep.
There might be another one. I think it's only 2 though. But, we walked out, the fog started getting higher and higher, and it got really spooky because all of a sudden you can't really see much around you. But I have, you know, my headphones in, listening to EVPs. We're getting a couple EVPs. But at one point, and I have a picture of this somewhere, this black figure started walking through the fog. Like, and I have a picture of this somewhere on a computer. I could probably find it and send it to you. But when I saw that, like that, unlike the soldier where I thought that was a real person at first, I knew right away. I was like, this is not a real person.
Yeah, no kidding.
It might have been 15 feet away from me, maybe, but clear as day. Cause I saw that what got me originally was I could see above, you could still see above the fog.
Yeah.
And like above the fog, maybe from like here up, like almost to the shoulder up, like you just saw like a shoulder and heads just moving. and I kind of move a little bit. And I don't know if it just hit like a certain part of the fog that was a little bit thinner,
Right.
but you saw the whole fucking body just walk through there. And you kind of just
awesome
like freeze.
For me. Yeah.
Well, by that point, I was mostly okay with this stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, you have that like goosebump feeling, like where your skin gets really hot all of a sudden, and you kind of get that little instinct to like turn around. But at the same time, it's like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to see what happens, you know?
And I mean, the whole experience maybe lasted 5 seconds, just guessing. But that was one of the coolest experiences I ever had on the battlefield, was watching this shadow figure walk through the fog, maybe, like I said, maybe 15 feet away from me.
See, you hear stuff like that happens right there where we're at, the store.
Right.
I can tell you now that we watched a Confederate guy and this was myself, the people who own the inn, Gus and Hillary.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else it was. We had one of the guides were coming back from a tour, and I was just standing there with them, and it was just right before Christmas. So the tree was still up, and we see this guy walking. It just had started snowing a little bit, but he's walking up against the curb, not on the sidewalk.
Right.
He's in the road coming down Baltimore towards the square.
Right.
And the guy that was the guide, he was a reenactor and still is, I think, but he's a Confederate reenactor. And that's what this guy, and he was talking about the guy's pants, how did he find that color? That's a unique color, you know? And look at that canteen. Like, he was talking about how original the guy looked.
Right.
And we're watching him, and I'm like, what is up with this dude? And there's no traffic by then because there's none anyway, late. But, you know, so this guy doesn't even look either way or nothing. He just keeps walking right out into the square. And then he goes up onto the middle, and he's going towards the Christmas tree. Well, we all something happened. One of the guests came out of the Lincoln Inn, and we all turned around and like acknowledged them and turned back around, and the guy's gone. And it was literally like 10 seconds, or not even that, 5 seconds.
Right.
So we think, oh shit, you know, this guy's drinking and done went out there and passed out,
Passed out the Christmas
fell
tree.
underneath the tree or something. So actually it was Gus and I walked over there, and there was no footprints. And there was nobody. I mean, we walked up to the tree, looked where we could, you know, and this guy would have never gotten any further. He wouldn't have went any direction that we would not have been able to see him.
Right.
And that was the thing that we could. And what's funny is I'm like, thought it was a really cool experience. And, you know, Gus and them being around for so long. And he's like, yeah, cool. And like, that was it, you know, like they're so used to it. You know?
Yeah. Well, the entire town of Gettysburg, you know, depending on where you're at in the country, I mean, there's variations in the number of people who believe in ghosts and stuff. And not everybody who lives in Gettysburg believes in ghosts.
No.
But so many people that live in that town have had experiences, whether it's something like that in their own homes, you know, or at the very least know somebody that lives in a quote unquote haunted house. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, whether you go on the battlefield, in town, it really doesn't matter. So by being in town on one of our tours, you're not really missing a whole lot. You know, you're literally where the battle took place. It's just not the official battlefield. And, you know, the other thing about Gettysburg that really adds to the ambiance is the fact that, you know, unlike cities like Atlanta or, you know, these bigger cities where when the Union came through, or in this case, it would have kind of been the Confederates coming through, they really didn't destroy the town. Like, there's so many buildings in Gettysburg that are still original to the battle. You know,
actually the whole square other than us. Right.
Damn us.
You know, well, you know, but that one was still built. Yeah, but I still think that the possibility of if you had a morgue and Lincoln Inn, and they think maybe surgeries,
right?
If you had an open foundation, right beside you, I mean, would you use it as a trash pit or whatever you want to call it?
Well, our store, you guys say that stuff happens in our store too.
Oh, dude, it's been getting worse. Like better.
Better. You say worse, I say better.
True. Yeah, I'll say better. But it's better it's not so better when you're sitting there by yourself. And it's like all of a sudden you hear like somebody come walking across the floor.
Right.
And I'm like thinking that I'm like, who would be coming in? Because like it's not time for
Yeah.
tours and it's not, and then it never happens.
Right.
Like nobody ever comes through the door.
Right.
And it's loud enough, but I literally had 2 customers standing there, been maybe 3 weeks ago. And we're talking, and he says, you know, what have you experienced? It's always, you know, talk.
Yeah, well,
And I
exactly,
was
yeah.
by myself, you know, and I told him, you know, I said, well, I actually have stuff happening here.
Mhm.
And he's like, what's significant about this place? And I was like, kind of telling him what we sat between and stuff.
Like,
And
Lincoln slept on the other side of that fucking wall. That's cool as
exactly.
hell. Like, yeah.
Well, the biggest thing is the one thing I told you that the cinder block part of the wall that's right there.
Yeah, it was like an entrance to
that was
yeah.
went into there. And but as I'm talking to them, literally it sounded like somebody with boots,
Mhm.
but more like riding boots probably because it has that metal on it.
Right.
Click, 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 like walking right up to me, or at least right to the counter to the side of it. And both of them acknowledging it scared me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and y'all heard it too, you know?
Mhm.
And that guy's like, what was that? And then she was swearing up and down like I was pushing a button.
Right.
And it was like playing these, you know, mystery footsteps.
Sounds, yeah.
But another night, our guide, Amber,
Mhm.
she called me and woke me up one night, or not woke me up, but called me she was coming in 10:30, 10:40, something like that. And she's saying some choice words, you know,
All right.
about, and what she said was the fucking piano just played.
All
Because we
right.
have that little room and we got a couple haunted objects in.
Mhm.
And I said, do what? And she's like, the fucking piano play. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, I said, well, I mean, are you okay? Like, you need me to come
Yeah.
up there, whatever.
Yeah,
And
what do you
she
want me to
was
do about
like,
it?
no, I just want to know that other people's heard that.
Yeah.
Because she's like questioning her own.
Well, I remember
you know,
the last time I was in the store, I didn't hear it, but I heard somebody who worked in the store mentioning that they have heard that before. And I don't think it was her. I think it might actually have been that younger boy that worked there.
Luke.
Yeah, I think his name was Luke. He said
He
that
had
heard
that
it.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it happen now.
Mhm.
About 7 or 8 of us, maybe even more, have had it happen.
Right.
And but it's like periodically, like it doesn't happen like on command.
Of course.
But you'll be standing there. Now have asked one night I was leaving, and I forget it was myself and might have been Eric leaving, and I was like, I said, "Are you gonna play the piano for us?" You know, and
Right.
and I closed the door, one door,
Mhm.
and then went to go out the back door, and we hear boom like that,
Right.
you know. And yeah, we got out a little bit quicker too. But
Pussies.
yeah, yeah. But so I'm like, you know, yeah. But then I go right in there, man. As soon as that shit happens, and there, even that night, I think I grabbed my EVP recorder and went back in before, and nobody else in there with me.
Mhm.
But we've picked up some weird stuff in there on EVPs.
Anyone that stands out to you?
What's that?
Any singular EVP that kind of stands out above the rest?
Probably the one that was, I have 2 good friends that older gentleman, and his credibility, he was a, uh, accountant
Mhm.
for quite a few, well, I don't know how
I don't know if
credible
accountants are always credible
government
people,
people.
by the way. Yeah.
You know?
If that's what you're
But no,
implying.
he worked with like some bigger, higher people, and he was, you know, no, I'm sorry, he was an attorney.
Oh,
He was
even worse.
Yeah, but he was an attorney, and he, you know, had some pretty high-end clients.
Love you, Andrew, if you're watching. I'm not talking about you,
Yeah.
like our attorney, but
he ended up, you know, getting into, well, he's always been into paranormal stuff, but he, I do think that he can feel certain things. Older, retired, you know. They came by to just him and another friend of his came by. He wanted to show his buddy our store, you know,
mhm.
and wasn't a busy day. Like, I can't remember. I think even the weather was kind of shitty outside, but so he's like, "You mind if I do a couple EVP recordings?" And I'm
Right.
like, "Absolutely not."
Go for it. Yeah.
And so he came in, and we got that porcelain doll that some people had us take out of their house, which I do think there was some weird shit on that, but
Right.
I don't know if it was like, end of the world type of stuff.
Annabelle
Yeah.
V2. Yeah.
And, but, so he set the EVP recorder right there on that doll, the little thing that we have holding it. And it said, "I'm going to hurt you." As clear as day, you could hear that on or might have said kill. I can't remember, but it was one of the two. And,
Ghosts
but
like saying that kind of stuff.
yeah, that's what it said. Like, I mean, it literally was like he pushed the button and set it down and went to go sit down and his, on a little bench I had in there. And it said, "I'm going to hurt you," or will hurt you," or something like that. And, but then like when he came back out, I wasn't in there with him. And when he came back out, he started playing it and he was like talking, asking questions, because he didn't know obviously that had said that at that time. And he's asking questions about like being Confederate or Union, or you even with the civil, and he was getting yes and no answers. Like you could hear really breathy, and so that was kind of cool. And, the one incident I was going to tell you about, so maybe you can tell me what the hell happened, because I'm still like, there ain't a whole lot of stuff that just freaks me out. Like, and I don't mean freak as in like scared, like what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
So it was somewhat of a busy night, October last year.
Okay.
And, cause I mean, we've run the best Halloween, tours there is in Gettysburg. So
fucking right, we do. You want the best Halloween tours in town? You just heard it.
So if you miss out, Joan damn stupidity.
Yeah.
No, but so that 7:30, 8 o'clock mark, you're having one tour going out, because we have a haunted pub crawl too.
Right.
That is awesome. And now every building, man, that we go in on the haunted pub crawl, except for one, was actually here during the battle, or was here during the battle.
Right.
And two of them were actually pubs.
Nice.
I didn't know that, and the Sign of the Buck, which is right underneath the Union Hotel, was called the Sign of the Buck then. She came back, and the woman that owns it's awesome. And she owns the Union Hotel as well. And we sat down and talked, and she's like, "Yeah, I wanted to give it back its, heyday of the real name." And she actually put like, she's got a couple pictures of soldiers in there that actually, I guess, were, I don't have to read them, so I don't want to say anything, but I know they have something to do with either the owner back then, and they were killed during the battle, or they were hiding in there or something like that.
Right.
You know what? I know what it is. I bet it's one of them that they were doing. The Union Hotel served as a long-term care facility, kind of, sort of. Like, they let a guy, it was an older gentleman, I think, that was a soldier, heal, and then they just kind of let him stay for a little while.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? And but maybe that's who that is on the thing, because I didn't get close enough to see.
I still haven't heard anything that's going to freak me out yet, Andy.
What's that?
I said I haven't heard anything yet that's going to freak me out. What's going on?
So, so I go outside, and right outside, as you know, there's benches of the town benches, and I went out there to sit down to kind of get out of the, to clear my head for a minute. And so we're in between that, the pub crawl going and 8 o'clock going, and so I'm sitting there. I had two friends that had stopped by that were going to go on the tour, and we're all talking, and we start hearing this very loud, like almost tap shoes, like click, click, click.
Right.
I mean, it's loud, like where people are looking around, and around the corner from York Street, the David Willis house, comes this guy, and he had easiest way to really kind of explain what he looked like was he had like two different periods of clothing on.
Okay.
Like he had a Victorian style, like vest on, and, like a twill or a white shirt, or I think it was about a gray colored shirt, but it was cotton.
Right.
but then like the pants looked more Civil War era. Then he definitely had a haversack, which is, for anybody that's like a satchel, I guess you could say, or a man purse,
Right.
and canteen. But he had a top hat on, like a Lincoln top hat, that was so patina, it was cracked, man. Like, but it had like holly berries or something stuck like in the band of it, and he's got like his big tummy, he's like a joyful guy, like, and he's walking, and he's looking, and, and he comes up to the first window to the left of our store, and he says, he said, ghosts, interesting. That's all he says.
All right.
And he's talking to himself, and he goes to the other side, and he's looking in the window, and he's kind of like, like,
Right.
yeah, and he's talking to himself. I can't hear anything. And our Allie, our guide, she dresses in period clothing.
Right.
So she's coming out in a hoop dress and everything, and she's walking up to the front, to come out. And he's like, looks into the middle like this, and he like catches her right at the door. And he's like, says something like, "Who's your tailor, ma'am?" And she said, "Oh, I get stuff done, down here at the Emporium and da 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 da." And he was like, "Oh, you look beautiful," or something. He said, to her like that. And she's like, "Well, thank you." And he says, "So what is this place?" And she said, "We are a history and ghost tour." She said, "And if you want a quick definition," she said, "but I can tell you more if you'd like." And he's like, no. He's like, "I'm just thinking of that concept of history and ghosts." He's like, what a care. Or she said paranormal. That's what it was, history and paranormal. And he said, "What a concept." He was like, and I'm like, the hell, you never heard of that? Like, it's everywhere, And so
Sounds
it
like
was
Gary the
almost
Ghost,
like
but in
the
human
energy
form.
off of this guy was like taking over. Like it was just weird, man. Like even other people were saying it.
But he was a real person.
So he starts heading up, like in front of the Lincoln Inn, and then it would be, on their way to the Blue and Gray,
Right.
So there's nothing there that you can walk. You can't get into Lincoln Inn unless you have the key code. So it takes you a couple minutes to punch that in.
Right.
And then there's nothing else. Dave, the owner of the Blue and Gray, his apartment that he uses when he's here, that's a door, but it has a key code.
Right.
And then you have the Blue and Gray.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he starts to walk away, and Allie's freaking out a little bit because now she thinks that this guy's going to like follow her on her tour and stuff, So she runs up to, and she's like leaning into me, but she's talking in her tour voice.
Right.
So I hear the clicking stop,
right.
So I'm thinking he's sitting on this bench right there, So starts talking. She's like, "What'd I do if this guy?" And I'm like, "She's right there,
Right.
And she's like, "Where?" I said, "What?" And I turn around, and there's nobody there.
Right.
And I turn around and look at the people that were around, like, sitting waiting for our tour, and the woman is freaking out. And she was like, "Where did that man go? He was just there. Where did he go?"
Was it David Copperfield?
Huh?
Was he David Copperfield?
Shit if I know, but all I know is we went. So I ran to I said he had to go to Blue and Gray. I just heard him differently, I was sidetracked. And so I went there. Allie literally ran up to the corner and looked up Baltimore Street, nobody. And she walked over to where the bands play now, which is outside of Plowman's bar there.
Right.
And nobody there, but that guy wasn't there.
Yeah.
So where in the fuck did he go?
Right.
Where did he go? You know what I'm saying? Because he's interacting with us, and the dress was just really weird. Like he just didn't, I don't know, man. His energy was so weird.
Right.
And it's like, where'd he go?
Maybe it was
like
a ghost.
we don't know if we're thinking, is there is that a time traveler? You know, like I don't know how
Right.
much I'm into that because I
Right.
never really went that rabbit hole, but it seemed like it would be more that than a ghost because
It's how we interacted with everybody.
yes, I
Yeah.
mean, he literally, you know, and I just remember like his whole, like if you thought back of like back in the, you know, Victorian days of like the mayor, he was always the well-fed one and he was walking, you know, with the
Right.
belly out in front of, you know, that's what he was, you know, but that top hat, man, was really weird. Like it literally looked like an old school, like from that era top
Yeah.
hat. And then looked like it was just, they had never put any kind of, you know, whatever they put on leather or whatnot
Yeah.
to, you know, keep it from cracking.
Well, it sounds like no matter where you go in Gettysburg, you have a chance of running into one of these ghosts.
Absolutely,
So, like,
man.
so if people are coming into Gettysburg, what should they expect if they decide to take one of our tours?
So most of my guides, they dress in period clothing, and some of them actually take on character, which is
Right.
kind of cool. But I can tell you to expect from one of our tours, it's going to be exciting because they they really the ones that work for us now. I'm lucky.
Well, we have the highest rated guide staff in all of Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Like literally, like they get the best reviews out of any guides in Gettysburg.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And they do because they actually give a crap
Yeah.
about it. And that's what means to me is like, you know, you go into some, like I remember with me being a tour guide, you know, you'd walk back into the tour room is what we had, and you'd hear people complaining about shit, I gotta go on another tour, you know, or
Right. Right.
something. These guys are back there like talking history and trying to figure out, you know, and then next thing you know, the next day they got about 50 books laid spread out
Yep.
and they're looking. And I was going to start a book club there,
Mhm.
kind of sort of to where let's do in depth on the places we stop at.
Yeah, our
And
guides really do care about history.
yeah,
And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like
yep.
we're not talking about getting even just facts wrong that might other people might not even realize that they're getting wrong.
Well,
Like the whole
yeah.
John Reynolds dying on the third day of the battle when he's from Maryland
Mhm.
crap. Like, I mean, and I think that's why our tours resonate so well in the town of Gettysburg, especially
do.
Gettysburg, because I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of people in Gettysburg who wish ghost tours weren't there.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that you've done well is really, embed ourselves in the community. Like we help out with organizations, we want to support good causes that are happening in the town.
Absolutely.
But just as importantly, I would like to think that the locals will take the time to understand that we're not one of those ghost tour companies that you should be ashamed of. We
Mhm.
want to make Gettysburg proud, and we want to make sure that when people come to Gettysburg, they leave with a deeper understanding and a deeper appreciation. It's not the ghosts that we want them to appreciate more. It's what happened here.
Yeah.
What did these people go through? And if we can leave them thinking about that a little bit more. You mentioned books. Like I always say, one of my goals is I want people to take a tour, like go home, buy a book,
Yeah.
like learn more about the Battle of Gettysburg, because for a lot of people, once you go down that rabbit hole, it can really change your life.
It does because it
Like,
was one of the biggest. This was one of the biggest things in history that changed us, America. You know,
yeah,
I mean, it really did. And
the high water mark of the Confederacy.
yeah, high water mark. We were just talking about that one the other day.
Yeah.
They're still arguing about who got that one, but
Right.
no. But on our tours, it's like we take them on a couple places, especially the adult tour
Right.
takes them to places that I only think one other tour may go.
Mm-hmm.
But we also are the only tour in town that got permission to walk into the graveyard
Right.
that we go past.
Well, I mean, that's a testament to, the city understanding. We're not like all these other ghost tour companies. Like I said, there are other good ghost tour companies in town, which I have
Absolutely. Yeah.
appreciation for and respect them. But there are a lot that are just complete garbage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
So-
just don't trust you because there's
Yeah.
what I've found out trying to get with other businesses like the Gettysburg Academy, doing something with them around the holidays or something. They got screwed over by another
Yeah.
company that's a ghost tour company, and they are called. They have dinner and a ghost all the time there at the Academy.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's the ghost part of it; it's the business practice of it. are not giving a shit about that it's the history. And that's what.
Well, it's all about the money.
It's exactly
for a
what
lot
it
of
is.
these companies. It really is.
But yeah, I think that, and I'm not saying that I told, a lot of people know me that come by and say, hey, and stuff that are on teams, and they know that I've been on about every ghost tour that there is in Gettysburg before I even worked here. And I tell them this is by far one of the more fun. You can tell on some of them other ghost tours, and not cracking on all of them, but that what they're telling me is full of shit. It just doesn't even sound right, you know, like, and it's like, but our guides get in depth outside of work, on their study of things like, Eric, he was a history teacher at one time and stuff. You got Amber, I can tell you right there is your Tilly Pierce expert, like, or with a lot of other ones, things that she knows. And, I mean, Jordan, he's wanting to be a battlefield park guide. And that guy, man, is the post office.
I met him.
Yeah, he's the postmaster of Gettysburg. So that says a lot for us that he would choose us, because he has a paranormal team that they do investigations with another ghost tour company.
Yeah.
But we also have a good relationship with that company. Yeah. But he still does tours for us and does that for them. And it's not that he needs the money. He just loves the history. Yeah. And he wants to be a battlefield park guide. That's his whole reason why taking the job in Gettysburg when he did it. So that's the kind of people we have, you know?
Well, I mean, there's lots of reasons to visit Gettysburg, and that's just one of them, but I mean, we've been on this almost 2 fucking hours. I know the guys doing the editing are like, Tim, you told me this was going to be an hour. I'm pushing 2 hours again. So I think we're going to wrap it up. But I think at the end of the day, if there's anything, even if you don't take one of our tours, like, come to Gettysburg, like learn about the city, learn about the people that live there today, the people that live there, not just during the battle. Everybody wants to focus on those 3 days in July, but there's so much history in Gettysburg, and if you are a Civil War historian and you haven't been to Gettysburg, how is that even possible? But
that's true.
And it's also just a great place to bring your family. There's lots of great shops, up in downtown, lots of little, like when I bring my family there, like we always end up eating at the pub right there on the square, or a couple other restaurants. We go get some ice cream, walk around the battlefield a little bit. There's actually, for a small town there, you can occupy a couple of days with your family.
Yeah, it's
pretty
impossible
easily.
to do anything in just 1 or 2 a weekend.
Yeah. So if you haven't been to Gettysburg yet, and you're within a couple hours drive, like, make the pilgrimage, get to Gettysburg and see what it's all about. And you're going to find out why it truly is one of America's most special, and to people like Andy and I, sacred towns that there are. But with that, I think we're going to wrap things up, because I really got to take a piss. But no, Andy, it was great having you here in town. I know you're here for what, another, let's call it a day and a half.
Yep, something like that.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be heading back up to Gettysburg. So I'm actually really jealous. Like, especially this time of year in Louisiana here, it's gonna start getting really hot. Like, I noticed one of the days next week is like 82. Yeah. And in my head, I'm like, fuck that. Like, I want to go back, quote unquote, home where a hot summer day is like 82, not just like it's fucking March. It's already going to be in the 80s. This is some bullshit.
I've noticed yesterday it was different here.
Yeah.
Like the heat, like an 82 here and an 82 up there are totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's because of the humidity. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, on that great weather note, I want to thank you guys for joining the Ghost City podcast. I'm your host, Tim. This is our Gettysburg manager, Andy. If you ever are in town, stop by this store.
Please do.
Say hi. Say hi.
Either way.
Yeah. And until next time, thanks for joining us, guys.
This episode was brought to you by Ghost City Tours, your guide to the haunted side of history in over 25 cities nationwide. From restless spirits to unsolved mysteries, our tours bring the dead back to life. Book now for a haunted city near you at ghostcitytours.com. Be sure to subscribe to the Ghost City Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, stay spooky.